Good morning, everyone. It's Jen at Ink Paper Rubber. Just have a quick little video here for you this morning. I wanted to let you know that we did get the FIneline Applicator bottles back in stock, finally, hooray, as well as the replacement caps for both sizes of bottles. So if you are in need of any of these, they are back in stock. We sell the FIneline Applicator bottles empty, but of course we also offer to fill them for you with some of our favorite glues. Good morning, Jan. We recommend a not too thick white glue in this bottle, which has the larger top. That's an 18 gauge opening on that one. And we recommend diamond glaze, which is what we use, or glossy accents in this one that has the 20 gauge opening. It's hard to see it there, but it has a finer tip than the other bottle. It's actually a pretty fluid glue, and that's what you want in that finer line bottle. In addition to those bottles and the caps, we also have in some of these new tubes. They hold the same amount, but they're just a little bit different shape than the bottle, and some people actually find these easier to hold and use than the bottles. So if you want to try those out, we have those in both the 18 and the 20 gauge sizes as well, and these replacement caps fit both of them. We do carry the replacement caps only because occasionally something happens to your cap and you need to replace it, but don't need to replace the whole bottle. But I thought I would give you a few tips. A lot of you already know these. If you've been in classes or at Make and Takes with us, you already know about this. But the problem that we have, if you do have a problem with them, we don't really have a problem with the tip getting permanently clogged up. Sometimes this bottle with the diamond glaze, it'll get a little bit of a skin on top that you need to break through in order to get the glue flowing. But I have had, if it's ever happened, it's been very seldom that I have had one of these get permanently clogged up because of having the cap with the wire in it. But what does sometimes happen to people is this little wire gets glued inside the needle on the bottle. And the reason that that happens is if you leave this open, and some of the glue that is in that needle that clings to the sides of it starts to get tacky, and then you put your lid back on and put that wire in there, it can literally glue that wire inside the bottle. And when that happens, when you go to open it, it usually pulls the wire out of the cap and leaves it stuck in the needle, and in that case you just need to get a new cap for it. There's really no rescuing it. But there are ways to help keep that from happening. One of the ways to do it is to always keep the lid on the bottle when you are not using it. And I mean, if you are using it and setting it down for 10 seconds and then picking it back up again, you really don't want to do that. So one thing you can do is you can put the cap back on, but that's a little bit tough if you're using it off and on, because it is a little bit of a trick to get that needle, the wire threaded back in the needle. So what we do in class is we put a damp paper towel in the bottom of a glass and we just leave it inverted in there, and that does two things. One, it keeps the glue ready to go so that especially if your bottle's getting low, you don't have to squeeze very hard to get the glue out of it. And secondly, it keeps the needle tip completely filled with glue, which means that it cannot get tacky in there, so that when you go to put it away and turn it back over again, that glue, all the glue that's in there is going to be wet, and so you're not going to have the issue with it gluing that wire inside of the needle. So that's why if you're in classes or making takes, we'll always ask you, if it's not literally in your hand being used, to invert it back into the cup. Another thing I will tell you is if you don't use your bottle really often, obviously here we use our bottles pretty much every day, but if you don't use it very often, that glue can end up getting a little bit dried out in the needle, and it can end up gluing the tip in there. So if you're not using it all the time, I'd suggest you periodically take the cap off it and replace it. Another thing that you can do when you're putting the cap in, and if it doesn't slide in real easily, if it feels like it's kind of getting stuck on something, go ahead and just kind of pump that up and down with that wire in the needle, and that will help clear it out, and that can also help prevent getting that wire glued into that needle. So just a few little tips for you here today, but if you are in need of bottles or caps, we do have them back in stock. Hope you all have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.